Okay, welcome everyone. This is Erik Malkavian, and I'm doing something a little bit different. I am adding some footage, illustration to my GPT Dungeons and Dragons session I had with ChatGPT as my DM. So I hope you enjoy this. Let's get started.
Here is your party members. Eler, a half-elf bard. He is charismatic and outgoing, with a love of music and storytelling. He is skilled in the persuasion and performance skills, and has the spells Vicious Mockery and Healing Word prepared. Mina, a human rogue. She is stealthy and agile, with a knack for thievery and deception. She is skilled in the stealth and sleight of hand skills, and has the cantrip Minor Illusion prepared. Iranthus, a half-orc barbarian. He is a fierce warrior, with a fierce temper and a love of battle. He is skilled in the athletics and intimidation skills, and he can rage to increase his damage and resistance in combat. You and your fellow adventurers are traveling through the rolling hills of the Dalelands, a collection of independent city-states and rural communities that lie between the Anorak Desert and the Moon Sea. As you are traveling along a dirt road, you come across a small farming village that appears to be in distress. The village is being attacked by a group of goblins, who have set fire to several of the buildings and are looting what they can. The villagers are cowering in fear and are unable to defend themselves. It's up to you and your companions to defeat the goblins and protect the village. As the party approach the village, what does your character do? Once you tell me what your character does, I'll provide you with more information about the situation and describe the actions of the goblins and any other NPCs that may be involved. I'll also ask for any dice rolls or ability checks that are needed for the actions you describe, and we'll use the outcome of those rolls to determine the results of your character's actions. As you can see, you have a well-rounded party. Eler the Bard with his spells and persuasion abilities will help you in social encounters. Mina the Rogue with her stealth and deception abilities will help you in infiltration. Iranthus the Barbarian with his brute strength will help you in combat encounters. Keep in mind that these are just examples and you can always customize them as you see fit. Also remember that as they level up they will gain new abilities, skills, spells and class features that will make them more powerful and versatile.
Alright, tell me what I see.
As you approach the village, you can see that the goblins are currently looting the small farming village. The village is on fire, and you can see smoke rising from several of the buildings. The goblins are spread out throughout the village, making it difficult to get an exact count, but based on what you can see, there appear to be around 8 to 10 goblins in total. You and your companions are currently about half a mile away from the village, although you can see it clearly from the road. The smoke and flames are making it difficult to see the goblins clearly, but you can make out their green skin and the crude weapons they are carrying. The village is the only nearest location from your current position. As you approach, the decision is yours on what actions do you want to take. You can rush in to save the village or plan a strategic approach. It's all up to you.
Our party sneakily approaches the village, trying to approach as close as possible to a group of 4 or less goblins.
As you and your companions sneak towards the village, you take care to stay hidden and make as little noise as possible. You use the terrain to your advantage, using trees and bushes for cover. As you get closer, you can see that the village is even more chaotic than it appeared from a distance.
Okay.
The goblins are running wild, breaking down doors and setting buildings on fire.
Wow.
You can see that there are several groups of goblins, each consisting of around 2 to 4 goblins. After observing the situation for a few moments, you spot a group of 3 goblins that are looting a small outbuilding on the edge of the village. This seems like a good opportunity to engage the goblins and hopefully catch them off guard. You signal to your companions and together, you quietly make your way towards the group of goblins. As you get closer, you can hear the goblin screeches and laughter as they rummage through the building's contents. You are about 30 feet away from the group of goblins. You have the element of surprise on your side. What does your character do?
Good question. Okay, I'm going to cast the command spell at the nearest goblin to make them grovel. Alar the bard will cast vicious mockery at the next dragon. Mina the rogue will sneak into the shadows and try to backstab the groveling goblin. Hopefully that I can get. And Aranthus the barbarian rages and attacks the third goblin.
You cast the command spell and issue a mental command to the nearest goblin, causing it to drop its weapon and fall to its knees, groveling at your feet. Ela the bard, who is nearby, uses his vicious mockery spell and insults the next goblin with vicious
Son of a
words,
snap
distracting
dragon,
it and
drop
causing
that
it to
weapon.
lose focus. Mina, the human rogue, takes advantage of the chaos and sneaks behind the groveling goblin and stabs it with her short sword. Eranthus, the half-orc barbarian, lets out a fierce battle cry and enters the village, charging towards the third goblin with his great axe. Rolling for the goblin that was affected by command, it has a wisdom saving throw DC of 13 with a -2 penalty due to your spell. Rolling for Mina's attack, the goblin that is groveling has an AC of 12, and she has advantage on her attack roll, thanks to the surprise and the goblin being distracted by your command spell. Rolling for Aranthus' attack, he has advantage on his attack roll as the goblin is within 5 feet of him and it's distracted by your spells and Mina's attack.
I roll a 13 for my command spell.
With a roll of 13 on the command spell, the goblin failed its wisdom saving throw and is now groveling at your feet, unable to do anything.
Mina rolls an 18.
With an 18, Mina's attack roll is successful. She lands a sneak attack on the goblin, dealing extra damage thanks to her rogue abilities. The goblin takes significant damage and is likely close to death.
Aranthus roars and throws a 19.
With a roll of 19, Eranthus lands a powerful blow on the goblin, his great axe sinking deep into its flesh. The goblin howls in pain and falls to the ground, unconscious. With 2 of the 3 goblins quickly taken out of action, the remaining goblin panics and runs away. The rest of the goblins in the village start to take notice of the commotion and will probably investigate soon.
I think we're starting to draw attention, guys. I shout, "Freeze!" on the running away goblin, rolling a 14.
With a roll of 14, your command spell on the running goblin was successful. The goblin stops in its tracks, unable to move from fear.
Yes!
With the goblin frozen, you and your party can decide what to do with it. You can decide to question it and try to find out where it came from, or you can simply end its life. You can also decide to take it as a prisoner or let it go. The village is in shambles. You can decide to help the villagers by extinguishing the fires, or searching for other survivors and helping them. Also, you can also look for valuable loot among the destroyed buildings.
Well, I take some rope and I tie up the frozen goblin hand and feet. I have Mina the rogue sneak out of the building and look for the next group of 4 or less goblins. I'm going to have Alar the bard try to calm the villagers here in this building, and Aranthus will make their way with Mina to the door and keep a watch over her just in case some trouble is here.
You tie up the frozen goblin securely, making sure that it won't be able to escape or cause any further harm. Mina, the rogue, leaves the building to scout for other groups of goblins nearby. She uses her stealth and perception skills to move quietly and keep an eye out for any other threats. Elar, the bard, stays behind and tries to calm the villagers. He uses his charisma and persuasion skills to help them understand that they are safe and that you and your companions are here to protect them. Eranthus, the barbarian, follows Mina and keeps watch over her as she sneaks out. He uses his own stealth and perception skills to help her stay unnoticed, and to keep a lookout for any other dangers that might be lurking nearby. As Nina searches the area, she finds another group of goblins looting a small shop. This group is also made up of 3 goblins. Nina signals you, and together with Eranthus, you start to move closer to the next group of goblins, preparing for another surprise attack.
I motioned to Elar the Bard to sneak with me to where Mina and Eranthus are hiding and observing the 3 goblins. How far are we from them, and can they see us, the goblins?
You and Elar are about 50 feet away from the group of goblins. There is some cover in the form of bushes and crates, which should make it easier for you and Elar to stay hidden as you move closer. It is difficult to say for certain whether the goblins can see you or not, as it will depend on their perception skills and whether they are currently paying attention. In any case, they have not yet noticed your presence, allowing you and your companions to gain the advantage of surprise. Please let me know what your party decides to do next, whether you want to launch an attack or wait for an opportunity.
Okay, give me an idea how Elar is equipped.
Elar is carrying a rapier and a crossbow with a quiver of 20 bolts. The rapier is a finesse weapon which will give Elar some ability in combat, while the crossbow will provide him a ranged option. The quiver of 20 bolts gives him a good amount of ammunition to use. Now that your party has the advantage of surprise and you are closer to the next group of goblins, you can decide on how to proceed with the next attack. You can also decide to divide the party and have some members attacking from different angles, or focus on taking out one goblin at a time.
What to do. Our party sneaks towards the group of the 3 goblins, using the bushes and crates as cover. At 10 feet, I have Elar ready his crossbow to fire on the farthest of the 3 goblins. I have Eranthus rage and charge the closest goblin. Mina, the rogue, will try to sneak up on the 3rd goblin for a backstab.
You and your companions move closer to the group of goblins, using the bushes and crates as cover to conceal your approach. You and your companions move closer to the group of goblins, using the bushes and crates as cover to conceal your approach. Elar readies his crossbow and takes aim at the farthest goblin. You cast Eldritch Blast at the closest goblin, causing a blast of magical energy to erupt from your outstretched hand. Eranthus, the barbarian, enters a rage and charges towards the closest goblin, wielding his great axe. Mina, the rogue, sneaks around to get behind the 3rd goblin and prepare to backstab it. The goblins hear Eranthus' battle cry and the blast of energy, but they are not quick enough to react to the sudden attack. Rolling for Elar's attack, he has a +5 to hit and the goblin has an AC of 13.
Okay.
Rolling for Mina's attack, she has advantage on her attack roll, and the goblin has an AC of 12.
Let's go. Elar fires his crossbow and rolls an 18. Twing!
With a roll of 18, Elar's attack is successful, and a bolt from his crossbow strikes the farthest goblin, dealing significant damage. Eldritch Blast also hits the nearest goblin, dealing damage, and Mina's attack is successful. The goblins are caught by surprise, but they are not defeated yet. The farthest goblin is badly wounded and tries to escape, while the other 2 fight back. The nearest goblin swings wildly at Eranthus with its crude weapon, while the 3rd goblin tries to stab Mina with its dagger.
Wow.
Rolling for the goblin's attack,
They have +4 to hit, and Eranthus and Mina have AC of 15 and 16 respectively. One goblin rolls a 15 against Eranthus, and the second goblin rolls 13 against Mina.
Oh
The
yeah.
goblin's attack rolls are not successful, and they miss Eranthus and Mina. Eranthus and Mina take no damage. With the goblins distracted by Eranthus and Mina, and Eeler's ranged attack, they are in a disadvantageous position. You and your party have the upper hand. You can decide to finish the goblins off or try to capture them for questioning.
What to do?
Eeler uses his vicious mockery spell and starts to taunt the goblin with insults and derogatory language, causing it to lose focus and become more vulnerable to your attacks.
Nice. Elar rolls a 6 against him.
With a roll of 6, the goblin fails its wisdom saving throw and takes a
Excellent.
-5 penalty on attack rolls and ability checks until the end of its next turn, thanks to Eeler's vicious mockery spell. This gives you and your companions an even greater advantage over the goblins. They are now at a major disadvantage, struggling against your powerful attacks and spells.
Excellent.
You and your party can now decide how to proceed, whether to continue the battle or try to capture the goblins and question them.
I move closer to Elar's goblin, and I cast Burning Hands. Whoosh. Mina attacks her goblin again with her 2 daggers. Ranthus attacks his goblin with his great axe.
You move within range of the goblin. Eeler is taunting, and cast the Burning Hand spell, causing a cone of fire to burst forth from your outstretched hands and engulf the goblin.
Nice.
Mina quickly strikes her goblin again with her 2 daggers, and Eranthus attacks his goblin with his great axe. The goblins are overwhelmed by the powerful spells and attacks, and they fall to the ground, defeated.
Yes.
You and your companions have successfully defeated the
Yes.
goblins and saved the village from certain destruction. The villagers are overjoyed, and they come out of hiding to thank you for your help.
The village is still in shambles, but with the goblins defeated, the villagers are able to start rebuilding their homes. It is up to you and your party to decide whether you want to stay and help with the rebuilding effort, or if you want to continue your journey. Please let me know what you and your party decide to do next.
What do you think, guys? We're going back to question the goblin that we tied up. We'll first question that goblin and ask him who sent him.
You and your companions return to where you tied up the goblin and you start to question it. The goblin is still frozen in fear from your previous command spell, and it is visibly trembling. When you ask the goblin who sent them, it only mumbles unintelligible responses, clearly too afraid to answer your questions. You may use various methods such as persuasion, intimidation, or other kind of non-violent ways to make the goblin talk.
We have ways of making you talk.
You can also decide to have some of your party members to try to talk to the goblin, such as Eeler, with his high charisma, could try to persuade the goblin, or Mina could use her deception skills.
Okay, I'm going to have Elar try to persuade him to tell us who sent him. After speaking some soothing words to the goblin.
Eeler speaks soothing words to the goblin, trying to calm it down and put it at ease. He uses his charisma and persuasion skills to try to convince the goblin to trust him and tell you who sent it on this mission. He also unties the goblin's feet, showing that he means no harm. After a few minutes of talking, the goblin starts to open up and tells Eler that it was sent by a group of hobgoblins who are based in a nearby cave.
Hobgoblins.
The hobgoblins are led by a powerful hobgoblin named Gromgar, who is said to be very dangerous and not to be underestimated.
Gromgar, eh? Okay. Gromgar, eh?
It seems that this is the information you were looking for. Gromgar and his hobgoblins may be behind the recent goblin raids in the area, and this information could be useful to the local authorities and could help to stop the raids. Based on this information, you and your party can decide what to do next. Whether to rest and recover after the encounter, or to immediately set out to find and deal with the hobgoblin leader and his minions.
Good question. We're going to escort the goblins back to the local authority here in the village. We asked the local authority here who we should give the information about the hobgoblins in the cave to, and more specifically, what do they think they're going to do about Gromgar the chief?
You and your party escort the goblin to the local authority in the village and provide them with the information about the hobgoblins in the nearby cave and their leader, Gromgar. The local authority is grateful for the information and takes the goblin into custody. They will likely take steps to investigate the hobgoblin lair and mount a defense against any future attacks. It's good that you have provided this information to the local authorities, as they are best equipped to deal with the hobgoblins, as they have resources and personnel that you may not have. They can also take the necessary steps to ensure the safety of the village and its inhabitants. Depending on the local situation and the local authority resources, they may send a group of their own soldiers to deal with the threat, or they may ask for help from other nearby towns or the local lord. In some cases, they could also ask for help of adventurers' guilds. You and your party can also decide whether to wait for the local authority to act or to investigate the hobgoblins yourself. After all, you have the information, and you were successful against the goblins, and you are well equipped.
Nice. Okay, and that ends our adventure with GPT and me. I want to thank you for listening and watching. Of course, I'm Erik Malkavian, and this has been my adventure in the Forgotten Realms with GPT. Thank you very much. You have a great evening. Goodbye. Okay, thank you for watching my presentation of a ChatGPT Dungeons and Dragons session with your host, Erik Malkavian, here in the Forgotten Realms. Hope to do this again in the future, and I want to thank you for watching. Bye.